Okay, so today we're gonna go ahead and talk about buying the best bang for buck server used. So first thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is just uh, open up a browser just to go through and talk through. Now, whenever you're buying a server, it depends on what your preference is. If you want the latest and greatest and you got money to splurge, you shouldn't even be watching this video. If you want to buy something for the best dollar performance ratio, but you want it to be new, or if you want it to be used. So the first thing I'm going to do is probably do what most people want. They probably want to buy something new, but they want to buy it for the best bang for buck price, right? So there's a few options. Yeah, if you're in the market for a new server, but you're in the bang for buck area, you can go with two things: brand name or non-brand name. Non-brand name, there's like Sun Micro Center. I don't know if you consider Gigabyte. I think Gigabyte would be considered a non-brand name, but maybe it would be considered a brand name. I don't know. Maybe they're both considered brand names. Because, well, to me, HP, Dell, IBM, the kings of the server market are usually the ones I'd consider brand name, those three. So, we'll go with something like a Dell. Now, if you're going to buy it directed from Dell, obviously, you're going to be, well, not getting ripped. It's just not the smartest thing unless, you're a corporation, you want to, you don't mind splurging a little extra money, and you want certain guarantees and rebates and warranties, then yes. Otherwise, I'd recommend going with a wholesaler or a distributor. So, what you do is, you go over here and type in like, let me see who's a good. Let's go to eBay. That way we can knock out the used and new at the same time, right? So let's say you're in the market for something a bit older, but new, but older, but new. So you want it new, but you don't want to be latest generation. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in an R730 PowerEdge like this, right? And so you're probably gonna be browsing around. This is a bare bone chassis, ain't got nothing in it. $700. It's probably not the best purchasing decision. So there's not much for. Well, you got this open box here. So let's go ahead and check out this open box. That one's a chassis conversion kit. Oh, it's not even an open box server. Empty chassis. Chassis. You know what? Oh. Let's go ahead and search by price. So to make things easier, let's stay in the $500 range. So we're gonna go 200 to 250 to 500, and let's do that. And we're gonna go ahead and sort by the lowest price first. And right now we're getting memory, and a power supply for $300, which is probably not the best deal in the world. Okay, brand new. That's a server chassis. Conversion kit. I guess you're gonna have to step the price up a bit. Let's go ahead and jump up for 1,000, and we're gonna do 600 to 1,000. We're gonna go ahead and shoot this. Sort by. Some of these guys have lost their mind. Look at this, 120 gigs for $800. People are just posting stuff that's not even legitimate. Okay. Now. Okay, so we're gonna keep going down. Well, it seems you're still not hitting the mark. So we're gonna go ahead and increase this to 1,500. Wow, I think they would up. And let's go highest first. Here, this is actually, well, that's from Poland. This one's pretty good. It's got two 2667 V4 3.2 gigahertz 16 cores. For y'all that don't know, if you want to go ahead when you're shopping for a server, if you go to Passmark, uh, benchmarks, this is the best place to go and the most legitimate, in my opinion, for pulling up benchmark numbers. There aren't a lot of crap because there's a lot of other sites, they just pop out stuff just to get stuff out, and they're not authentic benchmarks. These are authentic. So if you go here to high-end CPU chart, here's all your CPU numbers. You can do a Control F, 2667 V4. Okay, so you'll see this is lower on the CPU chart, but the single core performance on these is probably about, I'd say, the second best you can get for this server. Actually, in most terms, it's like the first place. So if you want to get some of the fastest single-threaded CPUs possible, it would be these two 8 cores. Once you start going up too much in cores, the single-thread rating just plummets. And for all I know, once you start getting a crap load of cores on any of the V3s or V4s, the multi-threaded performance goes to crap. So core count isn't super important on the V3s and V4s. I'd be aiming more for single-threaded performance or a good even mix of single-threaded to multi-threaded, like a good mix of core count. I wouldn't go to the max core count, like it's just a waste of money. But I will let you in on a secret here in a little bit that most people don't know about when it comes to these servers. Now these processors, in my opinion, are some of the best. There's the ones I run in mine that most people don't know about. They're OEM issued, so they're not listed on the site. Not listed on Intel Arc, and most people don't even know to search for them. And you essentially get like a $500 CPU for $100, $50, just because people don't know about them. Okay, so anyway, if you look right here, you can select the drives, the memory. This is decent right here because it's already coming with some of the best processors you can get, in my opinion, for this server. So this would be a really good buy, in my opinion. If you're looking for new, $829. You have to bump it up a little bit for the RAM, but you're getting some of the best possible processors you want for single-threaded performance in this thing right off the bat. Like right off the bat. And if y'all don't believe me real quick, I'll give you a good example. So on that benchmark thing, let me go ahead and show you. I'll 2690. I'll show you the 2690s V4s. Now these are 14 cores instead of 8 cores, right? Well, actually the single-threaded performance isn't bad on these either. That's the 2690, but you'll see it's higher on the other one. And once they turbo boost with the temperature and the TDP and stuff, the other ones maintain a lot higher ratio. So this is like, you got 14 cores right there. If you do the math, you lose some. But, and I'll give you another example. Let's do a 2670 V4 or 26. Let's do 2680 V. 2680 V4. Here you go. So here's another example. These are 14 cores too. See the performance drops. So, and you'll see, not getting that much more now. If you go to so in my opinion, the 2667, they hold, if you look at the graphs, even though those single core performance are relatively close, really, really close, when you're playing, if you're using your server to play any games or do anything that requires a lot of single-threaded performance, they're usually only going to hold the performance for so long before they take a drop. Now, that's specific on the V3s. The V3s have their turbo boost sucks. That's why I'd go V4. Anyway, now I'm going to show you the secret weapon when it comes to buying a CPU for the R730. E5 2667 V4. These right here. So, oh no, not these. What are they? Oh, 2690. What is that? 2697, 26. Is that right? 2697. Oh, is it 2666? No, 2666. What is this? Oh, hold on one second. Hey. Let's CPU. What are mine? Oh yeah, 2696. That's it. The 2696s. V4. I don't know how I had a brain for that. Anyway, these. So these are, see, they're literally $148. Now I'm gonna tell you why these are good. These are the exact same thing as a D5 2699. In fact, they're a tad bit faster. And you'd be like, that doesn't make any sense because the number is lower. These are OEM releases. So if you go to Intel Arc right here, and you try to look them up, you will discover they are not listed. You all, let's see it. So yeah, processors, Intel Xeon processors, 4th generation, and you'll see, those are the platinums. Intel Xeon E processors. Okay, E5, E4. Sorry about that. I had brain fart. Okay, here we go. So we can sort them by core count. The fastest ones are these right here. Obviously, the R is like really good. The good thing about these, they don't have the smart. Believe it or not, they don't have the smart cache, which is actually in this terms better because it's not balancing the cache. It's just raw. Now if you look right here, 2699. This is what you're getting, right? 22 cores. Blah blah blah. There you go. See, 22 cores. You know. All right, same thing. But if you look, 2696, nowhere to be found. So if you look at the 2696, same thing with the V3. It's essentially a 2699. It's the same thing, in fact, a little faster. If you look up 2699 V4, there's a pretty big, well, actually, they've dropped a lot. Usually when you looked up the 2699, they're like $1,000. So everything's dropped a lot since I last looked at it. But yeah, that's the secret. If you want to get it really cheap, 2696, change that 9 to a 6, and the price drops dramatically, and it's the same thing. In fact, these are a little faster. Like 100 megahertz or something like that in the turbo boost. So these are a good processor. Now, HP, I tend to stay away from HP a lot of the time, even though what I'd recommend for the best bang for buck server would be an HP. Just they're a little strict on like security on their newer generation, like the booting to the PCI Express slots and stuff like that. And you can't control the fan speed by default, so I just like to say, hey, go straight Dell by default. That's my opinion. I can't really say one's better than the other, but in my opinion, you know, because they're all like the three main competitors. So another thing, look at, let's just go on to the used servers real quick. If you're gonna get a used server, same thing. You want to go cheaper, really, really cheap. You can't afford anything, and you can't even afford to buy your grandma food, but you need a server just because you're trying to survive, right? So, you can have the R720 XDs. Now these are lower, a tad lower than the well, actually, a decent amount lower. The fastest CPUs you can buy for these are 12 cores, so you get two 12 cores for like next to nothing. So, if you're in the market for a used one, you can do E5 2697 V2. These are the fastest ones you buy for them. Look, they're only 30 some bucks, but they turbo really high, and they're the best processor you get. But you get two of these, you'll have 24 cores. Another nice thing about the older servers is when you're going for the RAM DDR3, you can just max the thing out and save tons of money on memory. So I actually recommend, if you're in the market for a used server, get something that you can put a lot of cores in and takes the DDR3 still, because you can just chunk RAM in there, and usually you're not going to even be using, you know, max potential of the server anyway. And so if you look up R720XD, let's go ahead and do a price sort here, since I already told you about the processors. There's no reason to buy anything else besides the best CPUs for those things. We'll go $100 through, you know, 200, right? And we're gonna go used, right? And I'm just gonna type in server. I'm gonna sort high first. Oh, didn't set my price range. 250. Let's click Enterprise Network Servers. Okay, that was the issue. We weren't in the right category. Duh. Wow, I feel dumb. Okay, anyway. So now, I was like, what's going on here? I think it was because it was in the category of CPUs before. So we're in the $100 to $400 range. There. Let's drop that again. Let's go to like let's go to 100 because I didn't get these for like an R7. I know for a fact I can get these cheap. Yeah. Okay. So here you go. You got here's one for one. Well, let's even sort to the lowest. Yeah. So you got one here, R720, 120 bucks, 160 bucks, 13 watchers. Which comes with 2 8 cores. You know. And maybe you don't even want to mess with it. You just want to throw it together and get it up. Then you just snag something off here real quick. See, E5 2660. These I'd recommend buying from like a Garland computer. They're good. I've worked with these guys personally. Here's an XD. There we go. Okay, they do have XDs. It was my fault. If you're gonna get one, chassis with backplanes, cables, and risers. So you're saying it comes with a motherboard, or doesn't it? That one's a little shady. I'm not sure on that one. Here's a 16 bay, 2.5 inch drives. It's kind of nice having the 12 bay. You could slide stuff in and out. Just use like a few really nice drives. Here's another 720. Here's a 720 XD, the 24 single bays. Now these are really nice if you want to cram the whole thing full of drives, like SSDs and stuff. Keep in mind, I would recommend putting a fan on the RAID controller on these things because the RAID controllers are older and you max these things out, the RAID controller gets super hot. Nice thing about the Dells too, you get fan control over the IPMI or the iDRAC right off the bat with the command. As HP, you have to hack them, which is a pain. So yeah, you look here, 130, whatever. You just buy the server, you go to the parts. I showed you the best processors already. For these servers, the E5 2697. Now, if you want something with a lot of bang per buck, I'm just gonna go over one more server on the used market, and this one's an HP. It's an HP DL580 G8. Now, if you want something with incredible amounts of power, but you want DD3 still, you can cram 60 cores in this. So I use it at the house. I took it from work. Just to use for hosting. Not sure how my boss felt about that, but we need to get the job taken care of, so I just had to get it done. Now right here, got G8 processor, memory, main, board, fan, CPU. Yeah, go over here. That's the whole tray. And these things are going to be more expensive, so I put, let's do 400 to 1,000. Here you go. These you're gonna have to spend some money on, but it's worth it. Here's a 60 core, 120 gigs RAM, 700 bucks. Comes with 4 of these. These are actually the best CPUs. These processors are only like 30 bucks. They're not practically free. They're flooded on the market, but the problem with these is they're kind of harder to find. They'll either be there or they won't be there. And sometimes they'll pop up really cheap, and sometimes they'll pop up kind of expensive, but you can put like literally 2 terabytes of memory in this thing, like without even sweating a breath on it. They have zip boards, and you slide them in and out. So if you want unlimited amount of power without spending the price of a kidney, this one right here, it's what I use. It's really good. So yeah, yeah, these are good. Problem with these, you got to hack the fan controller, which can be an issue. So those are the servers I'm going to go over just because R720, they've flooded the market. They get all their firmware updates. They're used in tons of data centers, and they're pretty much bulletproof because they already have their firmware updates. They're mass manufactured, and they've, when you're working with that many servers in the corporate environment, usually it's been perfected. So I'm just going to go over these two, but that's what I'd recommend if you're in the market for a server, like a real rack mount server that you want to get some beefy stuff done. There you go. Anyway, if you liked the video, like and subscribe. Out.